We are back with Happy Times in Noisy Village, and we are on chapter 7. Karl falls into the lake. If you run right through the cow pasture at North Farm, you come to a little lake where we skate in the winter. Last year there was lovely, glassy ice on the lake. One day, Mommy didn't want us to go to the lake because Daddy and Uncle Eric had cut out a large hole to get ice for all of us. But I said, they put juniper branches around the hole, so we'll know where it is and we'll keep away from it. So she let us go. Sometimes Karl is rather silly, especially when he tries to show off as he did that day on the ice. He skated as close to the hole as he could. "Here comes the master skater from Noisy Village," he cried. He skated straight toward the hole and did not turn off until the very last moment. "Stop it, Karl! You're really acting like a goof," said Olaf. We all bawled him out, but it didn't help. "Here he comes, the brave master skater from Noisy Village," he said again. Well, he certainly did come. In fact, he splashed right down into the hole because he had come too close to the edge. We all screamed, and Karl screamed too, worse than anyone else. We got frightened and thought he would drown. Then we lay down on the ice in a long line and held on to each other's feet. There's a picture of Karl falling into the icy cold water. So we got down in a long line and held on to each other's feet. Bill was at the head of the line, right at the edge of the hole, and with all of us holding him, he pulled Karl up out of the hole. Karl almost cried, but not quite. We ran home as fast as we could. "Just think if we had brought you home drowned," Bill said. "You don't say drowned," Karl answered. But I still think he liked Bill for pulling him out, because later in the afternoon, he gave him a whole set of tin soldiers. Mommy was quite angry at Karl for falling into the hole. He had to go to bed and drink hot milk. And afterward, Mommy made him stay in bed several hours to think about his sins, she said. But that evening, Karl got up to play with us in the snow. We built snow forts out in the yard and had a snowball battle. The girls had one fort and the boys had another. But the boys made such hard snowballs and threw them so fast that I didn't think it was fair. They came storming toward our fort with their hands full of snowballs, and Karl cried, "Battle and victory! Here comes the terror of the Northland." So Britta said, "So that's who it is. Here I thought it was the master skater from Noisy Village." After that, Karl didn't say anything for quite a while. The boys captured our fort and made us prisoners and said we had to sit and make snowballs for them all evening. "What are you going to do with those snowballs?" Anna said. "Save them until midsummer because they are very rare," Karl said. "Oh, go jump in the lake again," Anna said. And then Britta and Anna and I got cold, so we went down to the barn. It was nice and warm in there. We played catch, and before long the boys came down too. The cows stared at us all the time. I don't think that cows can understand why you play catch. Come to think about it, I don't understand it either, but it sure is fun. After a little while, Daddy came to the barn. He said we couldn't play catch any longer because one of the cows was about to have a calf, and there mustn't be any noise and confusion. We stayed until it was born. It was a little bull calf, and he was so sweet. Lotta licked him up and looked very happy. Daddy wanted us to help him think of the name for the calf. Let's call him the Terror of the Northland, Karl said. I don't like that name for such a dear little calf. I don't think Karl can think of anything except Old Terror of the Northland. Well, he'll be a fierce, dangerous bull when he grows up, won't he? Karl said. Then Olaf suggested that we call the calf Peter, and Daddy thought that would be a good name for him. Let's at least call him Peter from the Northland, Karl said. Then we ran over to tell Grandfather that Lotta had a calf. Very soon after that, it was bedtime. Karl and Bill and I were standing in the attic, and I was about to go into my room when Karl teased Bill and said, I guess I'm lucky I'm not drowned it after all. Oh, go jump in the lake, said Bill. And that is the end of chapter 7. Maybe when you're frustrated with somebody, they're kind of annoying you, you can say, oh, go jump in the lake. And then maybe chuckle to yourself because they won't know what that means. See you next time for chapter 8.